chain and kill over this crown, yeah. I got dreams that I'm trying to reach. Got a couple famous bitches that I'm trying to beat. Pull up in a double R, let the tires screech. I'm the leader of the mob, man, I'm kinda meek. AR-15 in the
OG Beasley,
Yeah, man.
you are
good,
real,
man.
man. You know what I'm saying? Salute to Beasley, man. Beasley, you show a lot of love to the people, man.
Got to, man.
You know, Beasley, I don't care what nobody say, man. You are one of the most connected, the world's most respected MC.
Look at it, baby. Look at
arena.
it, know it. Oh.
Oh, man.
Look at it, know it, and love it, man.
That's a fact.
Bees, man. One
What's
thing
up?
I gotta say about you though, man, you love to stay connected. You talk to everybody, all the battlers, all the fans, all
Have
the
to.
media, anybody who is interested in the art form and who's willing to do something with it. You find a way to empower people in this
Yeah, no,
culture, man.
I try to talk to everybody because, you know, what keeps things moving is the people. You know, and if you don't connect with the people, then you won't be here long. You know what I mean? Ultimately, the culture and the people that come and support it, they dictate where it goes and how long it lasts and how long you have to be in the seat of where you stand or where you sit. You know what I mean? So if you're not embracing and talking to the people who are watching the videos, who are coming out to the events, who are purchasing the tickets, who are buying the pay-per-view streams, you're not gonna last. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you have to talk to the people. And it's not even about just talking to them so that you can stick around and be able to maintain what you have going on. It's just about showing appreciation for what the universe has given you. And for the people who support you, you know, sometimes it's the smallest thing is just for you to acknowledge them and say, hey, yo, I appreciate you, thank you. You know what I mean? And I'm truly appreciative. So that's why I talk to everybody, because I talk to anyone and everyone, because I feel like it's a blessing. It's like a dream, you know what I mean? To like be able to do something that you love and be able to make a living from it. You know what I mean? To not talk to somebody who drove 6 hours away and says, hey, can I take a picture with you and shake your hand? You got to be a special kind of asshole, man. You know what I'm saying? Not to do that.
Now, Beasley, man, watching these new talents, man, you've been around to see the generations, the guys come, go, you know what I'm saying? Guys become superstars, megastars in this culture, you know what I'm saying? Being followed by, you know, top celebrities and things like that. What's your thoughts on just, you know, the new generation, man, the energy that they're bringing? Do you think they're as good as some of these guys? Because there's so many more of them and so many styles have been copied, and you know what I'm saying?
I mean, you know, you got to look at it like, how I could say, music, right? Like, somebody comes out with a flow, that flow is successful, so other people admire it and they utilize it. But in music, it's not as scrutinized or frowned upon, you know what I mean? So you'll have 15 guys going, skip it, pull up in the foreign, screet, all this other shit. And everybody does the same sound effects, bow, the same flow in the music business is done every single day, and no one says anything about it. They'll play it, they can steal concepts, sound, the look, each and every possible thing you could possibly take from somebody, the beats, the sounds, the look, the marketing, the hair, everything, the dance moves, the sound effects, the flows, and nobody frowns upon it. But we in battle rap tend to scrutinize each and every facet of the culture, whatever someone's doing. Oh, he said that in this one, he said that in that, which is actually true to hip-hop culture, because there was a time when you couldn't bite people's shit and biting was frowned upon, but now more so it's embraced, and a lot of things that transpire within the hip-hop community are allowed to happen, and people don't say anything about it anymore, or they don't frown upon it anymore. And you know, there was just like a certain pride that you had to walk with, in a certain way that you had to conduct yourself. Hip-hop is a lifestyle, and it's not just about music, it's a vibe, it's the way you conduct yourself as a man, it's what you stand for, and the things that you allow to happen. And now you're just seeing all types of weird shit, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, and again, you know, I've talked about this before, we could talk about this for days, like a lot of the stuff that we're seeing now, it is a derivative of hip-hop. It is not truly what hip-hop is. There are elements that are taken from hip-hop, and put upon this new genre and this new expression. But what these magazines and a lot of these websites do is they label it all hip hop. You know what I'm saying? When that's not really truly fair to the artists that are making music right now, and you know, to the people that listen, because those guys are held to a certain standard. So when you have these little this ones and tiny this ones, and you know all these guys with the pink and the green hair and the funny shoes and stuff, you know, they have their own expression. But that's not a hip-hop expression. So you can't expect these guys to go up to Funkmaster Flex or Sway in the Morning and have 100 bars and put them on the spot and tell them to spit, because they're not doing hip-hop. And the sooner that we recognize that and accept that for a different genre, the better off we'll be. You know what I'm saying? Because when you call that music hip-hop, what it does is it eradicates lyricism, because it makes lyricism not important. Because a lot of these guys are really just harmonizing and singing with a hip hop vibe, right? It's almost like
and also not putting enough thought
what's
to
that
music.
song that Miguel has out, right? I think it's called Stay Up. No, you gotta stay up. Now, nobody refers to Miguel as a hip hop artist, right? He's made great songs, Adoring You, and you know all the other joints he's had out, right? He's an R&B singer, but in that particular song, he sounds like a rapper, right? But we don't call Miguel a rapper. But the majority of the rappers that come out, they sound like that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like
They'll
that song,
label
that
themselves
flow.
as
Gotta get up.
Yeah.
These guys are rapping like that, and they're presenting themselves as rappers, and we're accepting that and calling them rappers when they're not rappers. But we don't call Miguel a rapper, we call him an R&B singer. But these guys are not doing hip hop. So we can't go off the look. We have to go off of what they're presenting. Not to say one form of music is better than the other, and not to say that these guys can't come out of the ghetto and be on that type of shit, because a lot of these guys with the weird hair and the funny shoes, they'll shoot you. They're ghetto street people, but they're just not making hip hop music. They're making this new genre that is a derivative of hip hop music. And once we start to open our eyes and understand that and label it as such, we'll be better off, because we'll be looking at it through a different lens, and everybody won't be frustrated. Oh, these new guys are whack. They're not rhyming, they're not spitting, because they're not hip hop artists. And they need to have a label for what it is that they do. They have entertaining music that's good for clubs and
Come on,
strip
Beasley.
clubs
You know
and
you like
dancing.
some of it, man.
I do. I'm not saying that I don't. And I'm not here to place judgment and say that one genre is more inferior than the other. My problem is when you call that hip hop and you compare it and you put this guy in the same category as Nas, when you have two different genres of music. Not to say one is better than the other, they're just different. Every other genre of music has a sub-genre in it. You got rock, heavy metal, death metal, contemporary rock, classic rock. All these other things that fall under the rock umbrella. Same thing with jazz. You got bebop and all this other, other forms of jazz, 80s jazz, contemporary jazz, different forms of music, even grunge, and this type of rock, and this type of rock. Even in newer music that has come out after hip hop, they have subgenres, EDM, house music, this, that, all these other, electronica, all these other different ones that are different. But when it comes to rap, they just place one label on it. Oh, that's rap, it's hip hop. Put them all in the same category. And that's fucking devastating. That should not happen. There should be a clear division as to what we are listening to and what is happening. And when you don't do that and you don't identify it, that's when things become confusing. That's when you have a guy going up to a platform that he doesn't belong on, and they're putting a beat on and telling him to rap, and he doesn't rap, and the people are disappointed and frustrated, and they're coming down on the poor guy. But the poor guy doesn't even realize himself that he's not a hip-hop artist. And half of them don't call themselves hip-hop artists. They say they rock stars. They have a whole different expression.
Yeah,
they wear women's clothing. They paint their nails.
They
dye their hair. They put tattoos on their face. And they look feminine. They wear women's bags. They have a different expression. It's not a hip-hop expression. They have elements of hip-hop within the sound and maybe within the beats and things like that, but it's a whole different expression. And until we understand it and recognize it as such, that's where the confusion and the disappointment comes in, and where you have these different levels of expectation for these newer guys to perform on when they're not actually in the hip-hop genre. They're in a whole nother genre that is a subgenre of what we call hip-hop.
That's us. But we right here. That's how futuristic niggas is, man. Make sure you go follow me on Instagram at MYRON.
That's Mac when he was 16.
You know?
Yeah, him right here.
That's me when I was 16.
Mac. Boom. Alright.
Yeah, it smell like money in here. Oh, that's me. Get money in here for snow bunnies. Flashing my money, baby, I ain't my vet. All the women get to running when they see a nigga coming, nigga. Hey, your bra open, I'm Hulk Hogan. Getting money be my slogan, homie, you should know this. Draped in my clothing, wardrobe.
Whoa.